Hi everyone, this is Neeraj Shah, CEO of DG Agri. I welcome all the viewers to our web series Food and Agriculture Sector Weathering COVID-19 Storm. Further, I take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Deepak Parikh as the moderator of this series going forward, while I will be acting as the moderator today for this introductory session. Deepak is the CEO and founder of DG Agri and well-decorated technocrat, honored as Top 10 Agripreneur 2019 by Future Agro Challenge and Technology Pioneer 2018 by World Economic Forum. He is also the member of expert panel of World Economic Forum on digital transformation. He is working on using cutting-edge technologies including blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, computer vision, drones, and IoT for improving profitability and productivity of marginal farmers on one hand, and providing valuable insights to the agriculture ecosystem participants on the other. Initiatives undertaken by DG Agri and under Deepak's leadership has increased productivity of farmers, reduced their cost of cultivation, enhanced the quality of their output, catalyzed sustainability of cultivation, and hence it has increased the income of thousands of farmers across multiple countries. Deepak is also advising various private, public, and multilateral countries. He is also the well-published author and a regular speaker at the events of high repute across the globe. Great to have you, Mr. Deepak. Can you explain our audience about this web series?
Hey Neeraj, thanks a lot for the introduction. Pretty long one. So Food and Agriculture Sector Weathering the COVID Storm is a web series which will be having various sessions where I will be interviewing agriculture industry leaders, asking them those questions we have crowdsourced by reading out to a lot of peers from the sector, which they think are very, very critical currently in the situation we are in. Today, I will try to answer these questions based on my understanding of the sector, which is outcome of interactions with hundreds of stakeholders, including policy makers, agriculture input companies, agriculture output companies, food processing companies, development agencies, and most importantly, thousands of farmers and value chain intermediaries across the globe.
Thank you very much, Deepak. So let's get started. My first question to you is, how do you see this COVID-19 impacting the food security at global and regional level both?
Okay, this is the most important question today as it impacts more than 7 billion lives. Global food security can only be achieved by ensuring supply and access to food for everyone. These things are very, very critical for very simple reason. Those living with low food security are especially vulnerable to the impact of disruptions to the food system caused by epidemics like COVID-19. This is exacerbated by existing vulnerabilities caused by climate change and natural disasters as well. All those countries which are dependent on import of food will be suffering heavily, especially poor countries. I have some discussion with actors involved in the recently concluded G20 virtual meeting for agriculture ministers, which was actually initiated by Saudi Arabia. And it was very, very clearly evident that all those who are participating, including the 20 countries, as well as other stakeholders, including the World Bank, the World Food Program, and all the players which are involved in food chain, that COVID is going to impact everyone. First, with many countries banning export for basically reducing the export of agriculture commodities so that they can ensure or safeguard their own interest. This will lead to surge in prices. Hence, the poor countries won't be able to actually afford this food. Second, with bottlenecks in supply chain, which we are already seeing happening, right? And basically the disruption of the labor in the farms, we have seen that there would be a lot of challenges as we move forward. Secondly, there would be a lot of food wastages, and such bottleneck will ensure that actually what's going to happen is that the supply will get reduced, and the places where there is high demand, the supply would be less, and the places where there is low demand, you'll be having ample of supply. So this lead to a lot of actually imbalances. Third, due to the volatility in availability of the labor in labor-intensive agriculture economies like India, China, Indonesia, to name a few, we will see that the next crop also is going to suffer substantially because we'll have lesser land which will be cultivated, At the same time, we'll also have lower yields because of these reasons. The COVID-19 pandemic is actually something which is going to double the number of people suffering the acute hunger. And this is what is actually like United Nations World Food Program is saying, that we'll be having 265 million people by end of 2020 would be suffering acute hunger from something around 150 million odd. So we'll be having nearly doubling of the people who would be actually starving. The positive part is that in the G20 meeting itself, countries from Middle East who import majority of the food gave some very, very constructive suggestion. Both Saudi Arabia's Minister of Environment and Water and Agriculture, Mr. Abdul Rahman Al Fadri, and UAE's Minister of State for Food Security, Her Excellency Maria, appeal to focus on unity and collaboration in these difficult times. And all of the participants agreed on one thing, that one, we need to avoid restricted movement of agriculture input and labor domestically. We need to avoid unnecessary cross-border restriction on food commodities. We have to focus on new technologies intervention to ensure more productivity and reduce food loss. And finally, support poor countries through various multilateral initiatives like World Food Program to ensure that we can avoid the issue of food security.
Thank you very much for this insightful reply. This brings us to my second question. What changes do you see in food production, logistics, and consumption in post-COVID-19 world?
Okay, so we will have a very, very different world post-COVID-19. While it will impact every aspect of human life as well as most sector, the impact will be more profound for food sector. Going forward, we will see more restructuring of crop cultivated in different parts of the world and within the countries. This will be catalyzed to ensure the future breakdown in value chain does not lead to disruption in the food security. So we will see emphasis on local production to cater to local demands. We will see more controlled farming, including urban or vertical farms, change in farming practices to make agriculture more sustainable, and last not least, make agriculture less human intensive. On logistics side, we will see increase in storage capacities world over, as well as traceability becoming a very, very highly focused activity. On consumption side, we will see initial fall in demand of various commodities in short term, and on long term, food habits of people will change substantially. While people moving to aqua food more than the red meat, as well as emergence of superfood, which would be fortified. So I believe these are the critical changes we'll be seeing.
Okay, thank you. Surely our generation will see the world in binary of pre and post-COVID era, and you articulated the post-COVID world for us to have better understanding. As you inferred that technology will play a vital role in the post-COVID world, which is at the center of our next question. How do you see digital technology impacting food and agriculture sector? And are there any specific technology green shoots you have seen that are more impactful than others?
Okay, while technology is already having substantial impact on food and agriculture sector, we will find that COVID would catalyze this whole thing. When coming to some specific technologies, I strongly believe that the emphasis would shift on controlled farming a lot. So you'll see the hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaculture, all those things playing very, very critical role. Then you'll see a lot of urban farms coming up overnight. Second, when we talk about technology, I see that a lot of automation is going to happen. So specifically when we talk about the robots, when we talk about like, those type of farm equipments which are smart. So you'll see that like, the automation of farming is definitely going to happen, that I can see. Third area which I strongly see that would be coming up would be using data as one of the inputs in agriculture. So a lot of emphasis will go on collecting on-ground data, whether it is through remote sensing using satellite or drones, or using sensor to a certain extent. Though I'm not very, very positive about sensor for a very simple reason, the cost is not in the range where it can be afforded by majority of people. But you will see that remote sensing and playing a very, very vital role in data collection. Once the data is collected, there would a lot of emphasis will go on analyzing that data. So you will see a lot of analytics coming up, and those technology which was gonna ensure that farmer is having access to all these insight on his hand. That is a mobile-based technology. So typically, like the WhatsApp and like Facebooks of the world, which will create a farmer-centered platform, would come up substantially. So that is what I strongly believe is what is gonna happen in the area of technology for agriculture.
That is very interesting perspective, Deepak, and I see lots of agri-tech players getting excited from your answer. Now, this brings us to the last segment of this session, and hence the final question is, what would be your recommendations to different ecosystem players going forward?
Okay, so let me give recommendation for every ecosystem player one by one. So first, when we talk about, let's continue from where we left in previous question, the agri-tech companies, I strongly believe that going forward, it is not about technology, but value on ground. Days of talking jargons like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, etc. are gone. Enough experimentation now, time to deliver. Market is huge. In pursuit of becoming investment-driven companies, looking for that differentiator is not going to help. It is time to have limited features, which gives value and scalability on the ground. So that's very, very critical takeaway for the agri-tech companies. Second, when we talk about agriculture input companies, they will need to start understanding the farmers more closely, and the broken farmer information access system which they are currently having, that need to be plumbed very, very fast. And the near real-time access to the farmer will become very, very important. And the last mile need to become the first mile is what I strongly believe is for agriculture input companies. Third, when we talk about the commodity buyers or the food processing companies, they need to streamline aggregation from the farm. More certainty is required before sowing season in forecasting of demand, and in mid-season about the supply. This needs a multi-pronged approach to create storage and processing infrastructure close to the farms, and at the same time, micro-level information collection and analysis to ensure the better traceability. One of the biggest spender, or I'm saying that the critical component of agriculture ecosystem is the government. So what government need to do? I strongly believe that government need to create more fair value chains by incentivizing efficiency and transaction transparency. The MSP model, that is the minimum support price model, is bound to fail. That is what I strongly believe. So is the model of middleman-driven agriculture marketplaces, which are typically in India called APMCs. So I strongly believe that these four critical players need to do these things for ensuring that our agriculture system become robust.
Very well articulated, Deepak, and I hope your recommendations will be adopted by most of the players. So that is it for now, and I wish you all the best to take this series forward. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.
Thanks, Neeraj, and those who joined us for this session, and stay tuned for the next session. Also, please inbox us with your feedback, and if you want to participate in this initiative, reach out to us. Stay safe. God bless.